Heidi, Malick Salie has actually been implicated by a number of former AYO executives. What's he saying?
Exactly. So I think the reason why he also came today was just to give his version of events. But he's been heavily implicated by former executives at AYO around the issue of tampering with the interim results. That has of course been an issue at AYO. But he basically explained how he was the Chief Investment Officer at one point, but he resigned because things just got so tough at AYO. It's been in the spotlight for a while now. The PIC has heard how due diligence was not followed when that investment was made by the PIC of 4.3 billion rand. But he also explained how Iqbal Survey was very much at the forefront of that AYO deal, where we heard from Iqbal Survey where he said he wasn't actually involved in that transaction at all. But what was very significant was the fact that he resigned just last week with immediate effect from that position because he explains that it was just too much to handle. Let's just listen to what he had to say.
Mr. Salie, can you tell us why you resigned from the board of AYO?
Commissioner, I think it's to do with obviously the pressures, the media's, the governance issues that arose, and yeah, I wasn't comfortable within the current environment and the pressures of everything internally and externally, and therefore I made the decision to resign off the board.
Heidi, there also seems to be issues around the valuation of the company. Iqbal Survey seemed to be pushing a certain amount. What's that all about?
Yes, so one must remember that there was always an issue around the valuation of AYO Technology from the start. AYO Technology was pushing for it to be listed onto the JSE in December of 2017. It needed funding from the PIC, hence the PIC invested 4.3 billion rand in it. But it seems as though from Salie's testimony that Iqbal Survey had been pushing for a specific valuation of the company. That valuation being 15 billion rand. And Salie telling the Commission that actually the company was only valued at 5 billion rand, but Iqbal Survey kept pushing for 10 billion rand extra on the actual 5 billion rand valuation, which is something that people have been constantly speaking about, how AYO has been overvalued. Given the size of the company, it should not be valued at 15 billion rand. Also, the share price was a major issue that the PIC paid for. It was about 43 rand per share. So that was all overvalued, and Iqbal Survey, from what we've heard from various testimonies, including Salie, that it was a transaction that was way overvalued. It was pushed by Iqbal Survey, and him painting this ICT company as a very big one, when in actual fact, if one looks at the real worth of the company, it wasn't that. But something else that was very interesting was that he was saying how Iqbal Survey was meeting with then CEO Dan Machila to push for this investment, something that we've been hearing throughout this commission about how close their relationship has been and how Iqbal Survey had painted AYO as a really good investment. But now you have a situation where the PIC is actually trying to recoup that 4.3 billion rand. But let's listen to what Salie had to say about the relationship between Dan Machila and Survey.
There was discussion around the PIC and the involvement similarly to that of Premier Fishing, and there was a con call where I was present where Dr. Survey had a discussion with Dr. Dan, and I'm not sure who else in the PIC, sort of getting them ready to say, well, we are and we do have a roadmap for this AYO, for this ICT listing, and that he would come and discuss, or that the team would come and discuss that at a later stage.
Do you have perhaps a date of that meeting? Of that discussion? If not,
I think that discussion takes place around the meeting with Dr. Survey at the end of August
2017.
All right, so he's done. Heidi, who's next?
So we're expecting to hear from another investment that the PIC got involved in, Daybreak Farm, and that is also another issue that the PIC needs to look into, because the PIC is looking at various investments. The Commission is looking at various investments made by the PIC, and tomorrow it will focus on Daybreak Farm. We're not sure exactly what is going to be said. We'll just have to wait and see.
All right, thanks so much for that. Appreciate it. Heidi Jokos.